We're going to call this Commissioners meeting of February 10th, 2021 to order. It is 9:15. We had some technical difficulties starting, so sorry we're late. Would you
Lino says that
I got it. Thank you.
join me for the pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Melissa, any additions to the agenda?
No, Madam Chair, I don't have anything.
Okay. Approval of the minutes of February 3rd. Does anyone have any?
I would make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I second it.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 And a copy for signature. Thank you.
Sure. Do we have any media questions?
Yes. Hello, this is Damon from the Comeau Sun.
Okay, Damon. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. So I heard some talk about there were some anomalies with the testing of the I think jail people and maybe some people around the county administration. Like the 10 people who tested positive subsequently tested negative, and I was wondering what the story with that was, and if it's already been discussed, or you plan to discuss it today, or what exactly is going on.
Damon, as far as I'm aware, what you said is true. We did have 10 that tested positive, and I believe those 10 again tested negative. So they were false positives. That's what we're going on. And that's all I can tell you right now.
Okay, is that going to be discussed during the? I think the jail is on the agenda today. Do you plan to look into that a little bit more?
We can, and you can feel free to ask Patrick any questions you'd like to.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any more media questions?
That's it.
Public input? Okay, no public input. The manifest approval for January 27th, 2021 was $140,161.21. Okay, and Patrick, are you on?
Madam Chair, I don't see the superintendent yet.
Okay.
Perhaps we could go
We
on.
will skip to then the finance department. If you're ready,
I guess
Mr.
I am.
Comeau? Okay.
I do have a brief written summary for you. I could ask you to take one, pass them down. Semi-quiet week. I did send around to you last week a snapshot on January 31st, actual expenses. I didn't print out a second copy. I did want to just remind you that doesn't really tell us very much, right? We're operating on a continuing resolution for one thing. January expenses tend to be, some first of the year stuff and a little light otherwise. So, but I did want to show you that and others that we're producing those on a monthly basis in a timely manner. So I don't know if you got any questions on that, but I wanted to at least send it to you again. Not seeing it as much of a guide to anything. Of course, we're going to be talking about the bond, or you'll be getting a presentation from the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank in a little bit. at 10 o'clock today. I do have 3 line item transfers, which you held from last week, 2 for the attorney, 1 for the jail, so I've got them, and I'm hoping that you will review those today. There's a written update on a couple of things that are ongoing. I did want to recognize our colleague Ruby, who's been doing outstanding and very tedious work on this ACA report, which is due for the New Hampshire Interlocal Trust this week. It's been hugely time-consuming. She's been doing it on top of her additional duties as getting out her payroll, and in doing this has saved the county many thousands of dollars by trying to do this in-house instead of subcontracting it out effectively to somebody else. So she really deserves a lot of credit for that. So with that, I will answer questions if you have them, or perhaps ask you to consider those 3 line item transfers.
I just have one question for you. The ACA report,
Yep.
Isn't that normally done by HR?
Well, I can't speak to what's normally done, but I think there's an argument that there would be an HR function. Yes.
Do you know if the HR person has been collaborating with Ruby on this or giving her any help with this?
I know that Ruby's been doing
Most of it.
almost all of it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Cohen?
All right, I have one, Madam
Okay.
Chair. So I see that you provided us an update on the reconciliations.
Yep.
And it says that Laura's initial pass of January through December is done. What does initial pass mean?
So she's gone through every single general operating account check and payroll check for the entire year to flag discrepancies, checks that were not cleared, things like that. So she has that portion of it done. She is now working on the manual checks. We have to produce, I'm going to say, maybe an average of 3 manual checks each week. It might vary a little bit. And so those need a separate process, so that's where she is on that aspect of it. Laura, Kathy, and myself met yesterday to review progress, and we need to have a follow-up meeting on that later today.
Okay, any further questions?
No.
Okay, would you continue with the line item transfers?
Yeah, sure. So you had seen these previously, but here's fresh copies of the 3 that were held.
Okay, thank you.
One of them was held on the jail. I believe it was Commissioner Tassari had some questions about some of the payroll lines. I sent you some of the line item detail on that, which showed the spike in August and September, I believe.
But my question, may I, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So my question on that was, it showed that essentially there was a payout to Superintendent Henry on his way out of about $25,000. The line is over $25,000, so that would make sense if the current superintendent was making what the prior superintendent is making. He's not, so I'm wondering why that number is the same.
I can't speak to how those original numbers were put together, over a year ago. I can only say that they are over budget, and so I prepared a line item transfer to address that.
Follow-up? Commissioner? I'm wondering, did you check to see if any other transfers had been made out of that line previously?
They had, let's see.
Because that might be,
I believe the answer is no, but I can tell you here in just a moment because I've got those with me.
I mean, I understand the overtime with COVID and with what's been going on, that doesn't concern me. I understand retirement and inmate medical, those are really things outside of our control. Retirement being that far off is a little concerning, but, with Superintendent's departure, I'm not gonna squawk at that. The telephone and the firearms are menial, and there are plausible explanations for those. So my biggest concern is with this admin salaries line of $25,000. If that's what the payout to Superintendent Henry was, that would only make sense if the following incoming superintendent made the same amount. He doesn't, he makes less.
If I could address Commissioner McCarthy's question first,
Yep.
those lines were not subject to previous line item
Okay.
transfers. We did have one affecting nursing salaries, education and training, and agency services, and a couple of others, but not these lines. Again, I can't speak to how they arrived at the original budget for payroll over a year ago, but most of the overage, not all of it, you're correct, but most of it can be explained by the former superintendent's payout when he left. Not all of it, though, you're right. It may have been under budgeted from the beginning, I don't know.
Follow up? Go ahead.
Yes, could we have you look into line 6100.007 specifically and track all the payouts from the budgeted amount and see where we ended up? Maybe we could hold this for another week, would that be okay? And do that, because that's a big amount, and I think Commissioner Tessari's question should be answered. We need a real answer to that. We need to see what happened there, so.
And if this happened in August, that's 3 months of the year, that's a quarter of the year that we should have been getting savings on the rate between what we were paying Superintendent Henry and what we're paying Superintendent Batchelder. Especially when this payout is almost exactly what Superintendent Henry received.
So just looking at it, so the admin salaries line was over budget by right about 5%. I sent the line item detail for the entire jail budget, but for 007 to you previously. So Commissioner Platch, I'm not sure beyond that what you're looking for.
So you've already sent the detail for all payouts out of line 007?
Yeah, but
Yes.
what it shows is that they paid Superintendent Henry approximately $25,000 when he left in owed benefits between sick time, earned time, the like, what he was owed. So if you paid him $25,000 and we're over budget at the end of the year by $25,000, that means there was no change in the salary from what was paid to Henry to what was paid by Batchelder. I'm under the operating assumption Batchelder made less than Henry did when he left. So this number should be lower.
I believe there are like 7 different positions that are under that line, so it's not quite a one-for-one swap.
So did somebody get a raise? I mean, that's kind of what I'm
not going to be able to give you an answer for how they arrived at the $481,000 original budget line. Not going to be able to do it because that was done under previous individuals. When we looked into that kind of stuff related to the former county administrator, we saw that there are different approaches to it. This is partly why for this year's budget, each department has been getting a personnel schedule showing exactly how we arrived at those numbers, but I can't recreate how they got to that number over a year ago by somebody else.
So, may I?
Yes.
Do we have a sheet showing all the payouts from that line in 2020?
Yes, I sent it to you last Wednesday, I
Okay,
believe,
I
in
haven't
response to the
studied it.
request.
Maybe we could look at that today and, or after the meeting today, and hold this over till next week.
You would have to meet with Fergus individual if you do it after the meeting, because we have to do it in public.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
you would have to meet with Fergus.
yes, I'm happy to do it on my
Okay.
own.
Okay. So these other, are you suggesting that we don't sign this until after you talk with Fergus, or?
I think we need to answer Commissioner Tessari's question, and I don't think we have an answer.
Are or any of these things, it's just to make the budget come out correctly, right?
That's
The
correct.
transfers, so.
And I believe that the executive committee of the delegation is expecting to review these on Thursday this
On
week.
Thursday.
I mean, it can wait, but it would be, I believe, the last thing for the 2020 budget.
We can wait, we can take this up later today.
Could we
Okay.
take it up later today then?
Then, but
in closed
you three,
session, or-
but then
I guess
you
we
three
do it
would have to
publicly.
be here Thursday to sign off. If we wait and then approve it on Thursday before the delegation. Or we
Okay.
can do it by Zoom
Okay,
on Thursday morning, if you're both available.
I'll defer to Commissioner Tazari.
I live 2 minutes from the building, so I can make myself available to sign the form on Thursday.
Okay,
I can be available.
okay.
I also think we could send it over as a draft. I mean, if they want to, if they want to approve it the way that it is and the delegation has no questions and they are not concerned about the discrepancy, then
So we can leave this till later today, then this one.
Okay.
Okay. The next one, 2020-31, from the county attorney. Account number 4110.073 vehicle. Our requested amount is $50.07 to go into account number 4110.088 photocopier for $50.07.
I believe we have been waiting on the signature
Just
from
the
the attorney,
signature.
so I think this looks good. I think both of these look good.
Let me read the other one, we can vote on
Okay.
both of them. The second request is also from the DV prosecutor. Request number 2020-32, account number 4112.028, case expense. Requested amount is $26. Going into account number 4112.070, travel for $25.95. And account number 4112.097, new equipment, for the amount of 5 cents for a total of $26.
Representative Avalon.
Okay.
Has his hand up.
Yep, Lino has his hand up. Yes, Representative?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the commission. I would just like all the information that you're going to go over on that jail transfer to make sure that the delegation is at least CC on most of that information because we will have questions.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, I'll wait a motion to approve these.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve these two as you read them.
seconded.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Do we have a signature?
Yeah, do we have one for,
Sure.
okay.
So these are the originals.
Okay, Curtis, do you have anything else for us?
I do, I do not.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have Superintendent Batchelder coming on at 9:45. I had a couple of fillers if you have a moment for those. The commissioners previously approved the the Civic CMS license agreement for the website, and I was able to get their signature on the agreement,
Okay,
which
perfect.
now, if you could please sign that, and there's only room for one signature. You might need a vote to authorize.
I make a motion to authorize the chairwoman to sign the civic license and service agreement between the county that's already been signed off on by Civic.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chief O'Connor, do you want these back?
Sure, that'd be good.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a certificate of authority from the administrator at the nursing home. This is something that the commissioners have signed before. There's an email to the front of it and then the certificate, and I'm sorry I only brought one copy, but Howie is on the line if you had any questions. It's related to the reimbursable for the COVID testing.
Yeah, if I may, Madam Chair, I read this yesterday, and it's similar to the one that we've already signed, and it's how that we would get reimbursed for the COVID testing, so it costs about $17,000 a month. So if we don't comply with the state's requirements, we're going to be on the hook for that. So I would make a motion that we sign the certificate of authority. There's a spot for one signature. It appears someone has already put my name in there.
I'll second the motion, but I'd like to take a look at this.
It was in your packet.
I think Howie sent it on
Yeah,
the
Howie
email.
sent it.
Thank you,
Okay,
sent
it was
it.
email.
Yeah.
Morning, Howie.
Do you have any questions for Howard?
I do
Good
not.
morning, Commissioners.
Good morning. So all,
Only the state would have us do the same thing each and every month. For whatever reason, they put a 30-day cap on it. In the most recent iteration, they actually requested it that it be signed by the clerk of the commissioners. And so I changed the language to reflect that.
thank you.
Can I sign, Madam Chair? Or do
Yeah,
you need
didn't
to
you make a
vote?
motion?
I did, but I didn't hear that.
Oh, I second it.
Did we vote on it?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Anything else, Melissa, that you can stick in here?
I sent you all a copy of the executive coordinator's report, but I didn't put it on the agenda. I just provided it for your information. I think weekly I'll just get back in the practice of providing it with just what I've been up to all week. And
Okay.
if you had any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer them. But I don't have any other fillers, Madam Chair.
Okay, is Pat ready to join us?
He's not online yet.
Okay. Then I have a couple of things. I guess we could go to commissioners' comments. Did you make sure that the delegation got a copy of the White Horse?
Yes.
Okay, so that, did you guys see this? I'll let you. Okay. I'm trying to find it. And also, here's another one for you to look at.
Are these in the delegation packet?
No, they don't get them normally.
I don't think they wanted the White Horse reports.
Okay. I received a letter from the town of Bartlett, Office of the Selectmen, dated January 20th, 2021. Carroll County Commissioners, Dear Honorable Commissioner McCarthy, Flash, and Tassari, reference is made to the recent assessment of an interest penalty on our county taxes that were paid late due to extenuating circumstances, and your actions on January 13th, 2021, rescinding that policy. We want to thank you for your reversing the previous decision. The circumstances concerning the late payment were out of our control. We made every effort to get taxes in as quickly as we could, and we had no choice but to make a late payment. We have paid the county tax in a timely manner in the past and will continue to do so, unless extenuating circumstances befall us again. We appreciate your actions on behalf of the taxpayers of Bartlett. Sincerely, Jean Chandler, Vicki Garland, and I can't read the last one, so I don't know who the last one is from. But if you would care to read that. So I thank you to the town of Bartlett. It was very nice.
Wow, that's nice. You're welcome.
Geez, I think that's all I have. I have some bills to look
Madam
at.
Chair, I would say there was a similar letter that was forwarded to us from a family member of a resident at the nursing home.
Right, I was looking for that. I don't have it. now.
They just expressed gratitude for the staff at the nursing home. And so I would say a good job to them over there.
Yep, as usual.
And if I might, I did forward that also to Howie Chandler.
Yeah, I just don't have it with me.
I think it was last week.
Last week's, yeah.
I might have it then.
So the superintendent is on your Zoom. He just sent over his written report. I'm gonna go grab those off the copier, but he's here.
Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine. Fine. Melissa's gonna go get your written report, but if you want to start, go right ahead.
Okay, as far as staffing goes, we have found the director of nursing. She moved here from Minnesota, I believe. She started Monday.
Good.
So we are still looking for an LPN. The Association of Counties has expressed they will be starting the academy up this spring. Just waiting for a date right now for that to happen. And we are down one officer right now, and we have possibilities on the table. We're just waiting with this whole COVID thing to see where we go with there.
So you're down one officer, you said?
Yes.
Other than that, though, you're fully staffed?
Yes. The roof is still leaking, but nothing can be done about that right now.
Okay.
Contact, they made it back and completed all the work they needed to do. That was in their contract. Cruisers are all up, running, good condition, snow tires on. Camera upgrades that'll begin soon with money incumbent from last year. This is not coming up the pre money.
Okay.
And FREA grant and Department of Justice grants, we should be receiving funds from them in the near future. Still awaiting a decision on the training and transport position.
Okay.
So whenever we get together with Bill Doyle and hash that out.
Yeah, we haven't got a meeting set up yet, is that correct? Pat, we don't have a meeting set up?
I haven't heard.
Okay, yeah, okay. Damon, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Did you have a
Thank you.
Did you want to ask Superintendent Batchelor any questions?
Yes, I do. I had heard something about the corona tests coming back as false positives, and I was just wondering if you had a little bit more detail on that, like who did the testing, what kind of testing was it? 10 false positives is an awful lot, I think, and it just needs some explanation if you know, and I wouldn't expect you to be a scientist who knows about.
Well, I can tell you what I know. So we had an officer who tested positive, so he done his 10 days, his quarantine, all that. So I then got a hold of the CDC, and they come in, and on the first testing, they came up with 10 of us that were positive for corona. and it was the nasal swab. Goes way up in the National Guard. They were here doing that. Out of the 10 positives, 6 of us got retested with negative results. The other 4 had no symptoms whatsoever.
When was the first batch of testing and when was the second batch of testing?
Oh, let's see. So the second batch was February 4. So the first one would have been the Thursday of the last week of January.
Did the lab or anybody give an explanation of what's going on? I mean, it just seems like 10 or several, false positives are supposed to be around.
I have asked them that over and over and over, and they just beat around the bush and just say that that is the best test they have, and they will not give me an answer at all.
And who is the lab that you're asking?
Well, the National Guard done the swabbing.
Oh, right, but it goes to a lab. Like they do the swabbing, but someone else does the actual.
Yes. The questions I've been asking it to the CDC people.
DHHS or CDC?
Well, DHS, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
On testing last week, we had 2 roommates come back as positive. They are showing no signs of symptoms. One officer's test, they opened the vial to find that there was no swab in it. Can't tell you what happened there. Again, they don't like to give me any answers. So tomorrow we go do another series of testing. And hopefully we'll be good. Oh, any more questions on that, David?
For the commissioners, I'm wondering if do you think, it sounds like Pat's really tried to, get something out of the state, or, maybe the commissioners ought to write a letter to the state, or maybe even, Lino or somebody ought to sign on to it. Some of our reps might have a little bit more juice up in Concord, or down in Concord to, get some sort of answer, because, I don't think that's acceptable to have that many false positives.
No, I totally agree. But even though we retested and it was negative, they still have us down as positive. They will not change that. So since we tested positive, they will not bother to swab us.
Okay, thank you.
So just wondering if the commissioners might write a letter or something to DHHS or should try to get something out of them.
We can talk about that, Damon, the 3 of us.
Thank you.
I don't know how the other 2 commissioners feel, but we'll take that under advisement. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So good luck, but I don't think you're going to get any answers. You tried.
Thank you, Pat. Pat, you have anything else for us?
We don't have a question.
I'm sorry.
Representative Avalani.
Lino's got his hand up.
Okay. Representative Avalani?
Thank you again, Madam Chair. If the commissioners would like to have the delegation sign on to a letter, we can certainly, if you guys want to certainly bring that up today, we would certainly bring that up tomorrow.
Okay.
Asking for answers to past questions.
All right. Thank you very much. Pat, anything else?
We're still doing screening. We're still doing screening on all our new intakes. Visitation is still shut down. waiting for the vaccine distribution to get underway. We've got plenty of PPE. The state is providing more at no cost to us. January stats, 93 male intakes, 25 female intakes, 118 total intakes. Released 70, average daily population 60.2. 48 inmates at the end of January, plus 7 Belknap boarders, 1 New Hampshire female, 5 Stratford females, 5 Stratford males, 7 Rockingham females. And we have received no revenue for the boarders as of today. That usually takes a little bit.
Do you have any questions for Superintendent Batchelor?
I do, if I may.
Yes.
There was the delegation had a subcommittee hearing, and I know you attended, on the budget. Did everything go well? Did you have any issues from that?
No, I thought it went well for the first one, yes.
Pat, the information that they requested, I see that you've already gotten back to Representative McConkey with all the information that he asked
Yes.
for. Good.
And you're pleased?
Yes.
You're pleased with the outcomes on the budget so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions from you? No?
No, Madam Chair.
No? Okay. All right, Pat, anything else?
No, that'll do it. I guess I'll see you in non-public.
Okay. Thank you, Pat.
Okay, bye.
Okay. What do I have? Joe, here, I have something for you for Hales.
Okay.
Oops. And I have a bill from Jackson Lewis in the amount of $882. And I haven't had a chance to go through and look at these, but I'll pass them along to you guys. These are bills that come it's in our budget, so,
Those are for Hales?
no,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that one isn't, I don't believe.
Now, this is for services in 2020?
Yeah.
This bill just came in?
Yep.
2 letters.
And I will give this to Commissioner Casari. This is the reconciliation that we get from the, oh, you got one?
I
Okay.
did that one, thank you, Madam Chair.
All right.
Got printouts of that bond
Okay, good.
summary.
Yeah, I got some questions. There's a lot of things I didn't understand on it last night. If you would like to look at that.
What time is
10 o'clock. That's why I've been pushing it.
it? Okay. Finish Commissioner's comments?
Do you have any commissioner comments?
I did, if I may.
Go ahead.
There were, this is on the 2 bills. It was HB 101, would require, originally as written, require a county to close the books within 30 days at the end of the fiscal year. In committee, an amendment was introduced by the sponsor, the bill's primary sponsor, Representative McDonald, to change that time limit to 45 days, which I don't know how the rest of us feel, but I was thinking 60 days would be more appropriate. It looks like they're going to do 45 days.
and they put it on the consent calendar. I know that the Association of Counties is opposing this because all of the counties are in agreement that the 45 days, 30 days was too short. I believe they're in agreement that the 45 days would be too short. That we would be, every county would be probably looking for an extension every year on that as a matter of rote. We'd have to get an extension. For example, the bills that just came in from outside counsel, here we are almost 45 days into the new calendar year, and we're still getting invoices. So we would not be in, I don't know how we'd ever be in a position to close the books within 45 days. Nonetheless, the legislature is doing what it chooses to do, and that's where that one stands. On HB 445, that one is still in committee, although it's been, I believe it's, I don't know what happened yesterday.
It's been taken off the calendar.
It's been taken off the calendar. It was sent for legal review. What happened with the, do we know what happened with the legal review?
No, we won't know. No.
Okay.
It'll be sometime.
Okay, so I believe that's in response to our chairman's letter. On
And
that,
yours
which,
also.
well, we pointed out some pretty serious legal issues with that legislation, so we'll see where it goes.
See where it goes.
Yeah.
Commissioner Tesari, any comments, questions?
I do, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I am, despite the fact that we've made progress on the reconciliations, I am concerned. By my calculations, we are approximately 3 weeks away from when we indicated that we wanted to have our books closed. And I would point out is the 60-day deadline that counties are agreeing would be appropriate. I am concerned about the reconciliations. I continue to be concerned that we are not on track for the reconciliations. And I guess that I say that to urge my fellow commissioners to help me in deciding on a course of action in the near future.
Fergus, Laura is through with her part for the whole year.
I've told you what she has
Right.
accomplished. Laura's been doing fantastic work.
So what's your perspective on how long it's going to take, I'm assuming Kathy, to finish her part?
I'm going to have to repeat my comments from earlier, which is that the three of us met to discuss this yesterday and are going to need to have a follow-up conversation later today.
Would it be possible for you to kind of give us some advice or when, after your conversation with the other two ladies this afternoon, that we might have some kind of a time frame or an action that's going to occur or something, so that they are done by the end of February?
I'll keep you updated as I have concrete information to give you.
Thank you. Yes?
Thank you,
Now,
Madam Chair.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, thank you. Apologize for being a little late.
That's okay.
It's my understanding that the balancing of the accounts are done through 2019, I believe, that's correct? And so 2020, they are still going to be working on, Laura's working on that one? Or is she starting in with 2021?
Laura has been focused on 2020
Okay.
and has done I'm sorry, you weren't here for
Yes,
the previous
I
discussion.
apologize.
No, that's okay. Laura has accomplished all of the general account checks and payroll checks for the entire year of 2020.
Okay, good.
She is currently working on the manual checks for 2020.
Okay.
She's done fantastic work.
Yes. So I guess from my perspective, that process is moving forward. And I think the concern is the current year. And so that he's addressing at this point, I believe. But I do think it's important that we do that. One of the things I was going to report today was that I had indicated to you a few weeks back, a format that I'm going to be putting together here. I haven't had an opportunity to get it done yet. But that's going to include the current month's operating account balance, credits, debits, ending balance, and then year-to-date stuff.
May I, Madam Chair? Yes. We already have that. That format is already done when the reconciliations are done. That exists for 2019. You can see it. It appears on one page nicely. It shows what has flown through the account, and why the discrepancy is between what the bank shows what we have and what we actually have due to non-cleared checks.
Yep.
That exists. It also has notes from the bookkeeper as to any entries that may have gone awry in that time frame. So we have the process. We have the system. We're not doing it. And today, I don't have any of those statements for January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December of 2020. So until I have something in front of me that reconciles a month and shows money in, money out, and why our bank statement is different from our thing, I do not consider that a reconciliation. I understand that Laura is working on these manual checks, but to my under knowledge, no one has confirmed for me that Laura can then take those checks and make this spreadsheet. My understanding is that only then can Kathy make this spreadsheet that shows a reconciliation. That is utterly concerning to me. We are more than halfway through the period of time we provided for this project, and we have no visible proof that it's being done. So I think we're focusing our efforts on a lot of areas that are not getting us finished product, and we only have a very short amount of time to get that done. And that affects timetables for the bond refinancing, getting the audit done, which are all things that we need for later on in the year. So we can't miss our mark on this. And without concrete proof it's being done, we're in danger of missing the mark.
So, Madam Chair, if I may continue, included with that information that you were going to get as commissioners is the department heads' budgets and the amount that they've spent by month, the balance, and then carry forward year-to-date that information. So that you've got a one snapshot piece of paper that pretty much is going to show you this information. I agree with what Commissioner Tessari is saying. We do need a method to verify that that's actually being balanced. And that's the piece that I believe Fergus and his people are working on. So this is what I want to produce for the commissioners so they can see the numbers and see what's being spent on a monthly basis. And then year to date and how much percentage of that is to the budgets.
I see that our
Your 10 o'clock is here.
10 o'clock is here. So Fergus, would you like to?
Introduce Tammy?
Yes.
Okay. You're bringing her up, Melissa?
She's here.
Okay.
There
There she is. All right, so today you've got an information session with Tammy from the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank. You have a schedule or proposal on financing which they put together, which is based, I will say, on a very low, I think it's 0.63 rate. And it's similar to what you've seen before. So we'll let Tammy take it from there.
Sure, yeah. So I just said to Fergus last night, I'm sorry it was late. We've had several communities ask about refinancing opportunities, so our financial advisor has been busy putting those together. But the end result, basically, and they use conservative market rates, that the total budgetary savings on your nursing home bonds is about $1.5 million. If you move forward with that. We can also combine that with your registry of deeds bond of $5 million. Basically, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the bond bank, but we're a government state agency, a quasi-state agency, that was created by state legislature in 1977. So basically what we do is we pool bonds together from several communities and put out one New Hampshire municipal bond bank bond in the market twice a year. And then we distribute the proceeds to the communities and bill them semi-annually. We're well known in the market. We've been in the market for 40 years now. We have high credit rating, so we tend to get very favorable rates. This refinancing of loans, because of the record low interest rates, we're finding that we're saving communities a lot of money by being able to refinance their loans in either one of our pooled issues, or because we have several communities looking to refinance loans right now, we could just do a pool of refinance loans. So we don't have to go out just in January and July. If we have enough interest in projects, we can go out more than that. So we could refinance your bonds with the others sooner rather than later while interest rates are low. Does anyone have any other questions? I mean, we have several, we've bonded with several counties. Belknap County, Rockingham County has been in our bond issues the last couple of years. Stratford County, and we're working now with Sullivan County. I'm doing a bond for them as well. So I guess if you could just let me know more what you're looking for from me, I can answer any questions.
We have a couple questions, if I can start.
Sure.
So I guess the first question would be, what information, if we went forward with this, what information would you need, and what would the timing be from us? Would you need a 2020 audit completed?
Yes, we would need 3 years of the audits, past audits, including your most recent, and a bond application. So basically, we would update a bond application here for you, send it to you, you'd fill it out. Again, I mean, right now, the only planned bond schedule that we have is for our July sale, and applications would be due at the end of April. However, if we decide to go with a separate refinancing issue, we would definitely let you know and give you the timeline at that point. But if you go on our website, we have our July application on there, and that's pretty much the timeline of any of our bond issues. That would change if we decide to move forward with this refinancing sooner. So it's just application and 3 years of audits and a bond opinion. And I was reading over your last meeting minutes, just so you know, there are no fees through the bond bank. All the cost of issuance and our administrative fees is all reflected in the interest rate. So there's no additional fees besides your bond counsel fee. So you would have Vernell's fee.
Representative Avellini, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for taking the question. You talked about the refinance with the Register of Deeds bond as well. Can that be done under one umbrella, or is that going to have to be done in separate stages?
Yep, you could do it all at the same time. Yep, it would basically be, you know, it would be combined together in our eyes, but we can send you 2 separate debt schedules, payment schedules, so that you can keep them separate. But to us, it would just be one bond.
Thank you, that's good news. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Lisa, you have a question?
Tammy, this is Lisa Scott, the Register of Deeds.
Yes.
I'm just seeing these schedules for the first time right now. And on page 6, it shows the coupon is 5%. What does that mean?
Yes. Okay, yes, that's a good question. And it's also a complicated one here for me to explain, and I have to explain it at every sale. So basically, you're going to receive a premium on this loan. So because the way the investors bid on our bonds is they bid with these high coupon rates, these 5% coupon rates, and then they give you a premium. So basically, your premium on this loan, if you look at page 1, you'll see the bond procedure par amount is gonna be $8,860,000. That is what you're gonna be paying back. You're gonna receive a premium of $2,018,000, because your total bond to be paid off is $10,878,797, but you only need to pay back that $8.8 million. So that premium is inclusive of the true interest cost, is what we call it, because that 5% coupon rate is now going to be, that principal, it's being calculated off the principal, and that principal is reduced by $2 million. So your interest is going to be higher because it's based on that 5% coupon, but your principal is going to be $2 million lower. So you're going to receive the $10 million and only have to pay back the $8.8 million.
And is the $8.8 million what we owe on Mountain, the nursing home right now?
You owe approximately $10,878,797.
Okay, so
I'll give you that as proceeds, but you only need to pay off that loan. So you only need to pay back the $8.8 million. Because of that $2 million premium that was used to reduce your loan.
Lisa?
may I ask, is there a schedule here that would include the deeds amount?
Yes, so that page 6 would be your new debt service.
No, Lisa, this just is a refinance.
So this is just the Mountain View Nursing Home 8.8, okay.
That's right, it's just the nursing home. I can do schedules for the $5 million. I did notice we did them back in July of 2020. Our interest rates have come down since then, and even though we run these schedules with a conservative interest rate, they were way above conservative. So I could rerun those at a lower rate if you would like me to do that. And then on that same handout I gave you, if you look at page 4, that'll show you your debt service now, what your new debt service is going to be, and what your yearly annual savings will be.
Joe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Joe Costello. I'm the county treasurer. And so the question I have for you, this again just shows us the nursing home, right?
Yes.
So do you have the proposal that will show both of them together so that we can see?
I'd probably do them separate at this point, but you can add them together certainly. Because I will be doing my own schedule here for the $5 million. Again, and be using a conservative rate, but yes, I can put that together for you.
Okay, because that's we wanted to see what it was going to be if we did both the nursing home and the registry of deeds issue at the same time.
Okay. Yep.
Lisa, you have another question?
I can real quick if you want, and I can sit over with you.
Okay.
Tammy, could you do that for various terms? 10 years, 15 years, 20 years?
Yeah, do you want me to go up to 30? I noticed you did that in July.
I would say yes. I don't know what more information the better as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Okay.
May I clarify that request? I believe, so for the nursing home, I think we're still looking at a 9-year term, but potentially for the new money, that would be potentially a longer year term. Is that correct? Okay. So whether you can combine those in one table or have to consider them as two issues for purposes of a payoff schedule, I'm not sure. But I just wanted to clarify, we would have two different payback periods on the two projects.
It would be the same payment dates. We'd have the same payment dates, but what I would do, so we're basically going to structure them both together, separately. But then at the end, we're going to combine them together on our end as a total schedule. But we'll send you payment schedules for each project and a total schedule because you're going to be billed on that total. Like we don't send separate invoices for each project. We send them as one. If they're in the same.
Representative Abellini?
Thank you again, Madam Chair. And just a quick follow-up, because I was trying to follow along, and I think I lost a couple sentences. So we're going to refinance the nursing home bond for 9 years, and then we're going to possibly do the Registry of Deeds loan for 20 years. I just want to make sure that I heard that correctly.
No.
No, she's gonna go out and give us schedules for, I think, 10, 20, and 30, and then the delegation presumably would choose which payback schedule. But my understanding is that Tammy would give it to us for those similarly to the one she did previously, showing 10, 20, and 30 years.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
What happened?
Okay. Joe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tammy, it's Joe again. I know we've talked about the 9 years for the nursing home. Are we locked into that 9-year term?
That's a good question. I would have to ask our financial advisor about that. I think she just did it because it was, that's what you had left, was 9 years.
Mm-hmm. But we could go
So we could
longer if...
potentially shorten. I could ask her that question.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear that. I mean, I'm not saying we want to go longer. I just was curious of, what opportunities we might have there at this lower rate.
Okay.
I'm sure, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Tammy, I have a question for you. When you were doing your original description for us, you said the difference with using the bond bank is the fees that we would pay, and you mentioned, is it Linnell's fee or?
Yep, so basically, bond bank does not have any fees. It's all set in the final interest rate and shared with everybody who's in that issuance. And then you just have bond counsel fee. And bond counsel fee can be put into the bond as well. You just need to let us know that ahead of time.
Okay, so it saves that other fee that we would have from a financial consultant if we did it not through the bond bank.
Right, you would have that fee. Mm-hmm. And I did notice, because you said that I looked and Carroll County does not have a separate rating, but you did when you did this bond back in 2010 because you had a AA3 with Moody's at that time, but it must have just lapsed. But that can be rather expensive. I mean, we pay $26,000 to $30,000 per rating when we get ratings. So, that's a cost of issuance that's shared again with all the communities that are pooled together in a bond issue.
So we don't need to have a separate bond rating to go through the bond.
No.
Bruce?
And you've probably had to annual disclosure every year too, since you posted this bond by yourself. If your debt's through the bond bank, you don't have to do annual disclosure anymore. We do it for you.
You have a question, Fergus?
Sure. Tammy, this is Fergus. So you mentioned the 3 most recent audits. The question is the 2019 audit going to be enough, or would we need to have the 2020 audit complete by our application date at the end of April to participate, or is 2017 through 19 good enough?
It's good enough for now, but as soon as we're going to ask for your audits every year. So as soon as you have them done, and I realize that due to COVID that we've had a lot of late audits this year, so that's a pass.
All right, so for the purposes of the application, we would not need the 2020 complete, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, we would put it, but if it's not done, it's not going to disqualify you.
Got it. Okay. So you addressed the fact that we don't currently have a bond rating. And because you don't require a bond rating, like there isn't a lower rate that we would potentially qualify for if we did have a bond rating, correct?
It depends on what your rating is. See, you had a AA3 in 2010, but with Moody's, but we're a AA plus with S&P and a AA2 with Moody's, so that's a better rating. So you would potentially get better rates with a higher rating through the bond bank.
All right. So without putting words in your mouth, it sounds like you would advise us not to bother seeking a bond rating at this time. Is that correct? Okay, you can take a pass. You don't have to answer that question. So your table, you describe it as a conservative rate, but you have put this table together based on a 0.63 rate. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. So
Sorry. It's actually arbitrage yield. The true interest cost is actually 0.778309.
okay, 0.77.
That's true. Yeah, 778309.
Okay.
0.78.
Third line down.
All right. So, and I as you're aware, we've received at least another initial presentation from a direct purchase, and they use 2% as a conservative rate, expecting that would not be the final rate. But I just want to be clear, the difference between an $850,000 potential savings and a $1.45 million potential savings is largely explained by, different rates used for those calculations. We don't know what the actual rate would be. Tammy, on the fee structure, on page 1 of your proposal, it does note that the cost of issuance is $50,000. In addition, there's an underwriter's discount of another $75,000, so a total of really $125,000 in issuance fees. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so
And that's already included in the rate. Yep.
You've effectively.
That again is still an estimate. It depends on how many other refinancing we have in there. That's all going to be shared, so that could change depending how many other participants are in the sale.
Okay. So I just want to be clear that, and you've included those costs in the bond issuance, correct? Okay. So I just want to make sure that we aren't overlooking the fact that there's $125,000 of issuance fees, that it's not free. Which is not to say it's not worth it. I'm just saying that let's not overlook that as a potential expense. In addition, we would still have some fees for Renell, but we wouldn't have the fees for the other financial advisor because the bond bank would be acting as our financial advisor. Okay. Tammy, if we were to apply for the April 30th deadline, that doesn't really commit us to going through, right? It just puts it as a possibility, correct? Okay.
That's right. So basically, looking at our July schedule, so we're going to mail you a loan agreement on June 21st. That loan agreement is the commissioner saying, yes, we want to issue this with the bond bank.
Okay.
And that's the binding document.
And if we were considering also a direct issue bank loan instead, what would be your pitch for why we should work with the bond bank on that instead of going that route?
The bank could give you instead of us saying this is estimated, and we don't know what's going to happen in the market from now until July, the bank could give you the rate today. You can prepay with the bank. Those are the two benefits of going directly with the bank.
Okay. And I know this is speculation, but to what extent do you think there is interest rate risk over the next, 3 to 6 months?
I've been hearing they don't expect much movement for the next year, but no one has a crystal ball. I mean, This time last year, the market just stopped in March when we had $100 million in bonds to put out in July, and all of a sudden no bonds were trading in the market. So, but then we ended up having one of the best sales we had to that point. So we got really low rates, and it actually went through. So it's all with COVID, and it's just all up in the air. But I'm hearing that they don't anticipate to raise rates anytime soon.
And I think this is my last question, at least for this time. as we're trying to weigh our options and keep our options open, I think there's some interest in, as part of sort of a competitive bid process on this. I know when you issue something, you're going out to bid. I think what we're trying to do is make sure that that we are able to consider both whatever rates you're able to offer and whatever rates direct issue bank might be able to offer. And I just want to. I mean, you understand that, right? As part of the process.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Like I use the agency. I don't look at myself or the bond bank as a competitor. I look at it as a state agency who's there to help communities who need help fund projects at the lowest cost possible. If you can get that through a bank, good on you. You can even bring it by us, and I can bring it by our financial advisor saying, look, this is what they're getting from the bank. What do you think? And we can give you advice that way.
Okay.
Lisa? You have a question?
Tammy, is it realistic to think that we can have the application completed in time for the April 1st deadline?
April 30th?
Third.
Yep. And because of COVID, we may even have more than one sale this year because there are delayed meetings. You have, if your meeting's not till May, June, and July, you're not going to meet our April 30th deadline. So we may have another one later in the year, but I have a feeling we're still going to keep with this July schedule, but may possibly have a second one later on in the year.
Thank you.
I do.
But the application is well.
So Tammy, CFO Colin asked you, and you said that the audits for 17 through 19 would be sufficient. If we don't complete our 2020 audit until 2 years from now, is that going to be a problem? And that's a serious question because we're really behind on our audits. It's a thing we do apparently. So I'm just wondering, if we had another late audit, how will that affect us?
I wish I didn't share that, but because we have one of our largest borrowers is doesn't even have they're still waiting on their 18 and 19 audits. So, you think there's a potential that it could be 2 years out for the 2020?
I hope I'm exaggerating, but I would just wonder if we're going to get hit with fees or whatever, because what we're doing, Tracy, is putting pressure on getting our audit done to ensure we're not as behind as last year. And I think what CFO Cullen was alluding to was we can still do it through the bond bank because we'll use 17, 18, and 19, which takes the pressure off getting it done for 2020. So I'm just wondering if there become any penalties or any issues we face if we essentially don't hold up to our end of the bargain, which was to get it to you timely.
Well, that loan agreement that you're signing is saying that you will provide us with annual audits yearly.
Okay.
But again, of course we don't have everybody who's complying with that here. And we've talked about, things that we can do. We haven't, can we, give fees out or charge fees? Department of Revenue, they may even, because, it's required with the Department of Revenue every year too. They may start charging fees. The director over there is also on our board. So we haven't made a final decision, but I just want you to know we have been talking about it.
Thank you.
Sure, what we can do to make sure that everyone stays compliant. Besides, not lend the money when they need it if they're not up to date with their audits.
I don't believe that we've ever been 2 years late with the audit, but it's always that possibility.
But again, it's good to look at your financials, and if we see, that you're financially healthy, that may be less of a concern at that point.
Do I have any other
But
questions?
the board may ask what money will be completed.
Any other questions for Tammy, Lisa, Joe?
Thank you,
Commissioners?
Tammy.
Representative Avellini, any further questions?
Madam Chair, I'm all set. Thank you. And thank you, Jamie, today.
You're welcome. Well, I will get those debt bills to you, Fergus. And if there's any other questions you'd like me to, come back, I'm welcome. I'm available.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
All right, thank you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Good luck.
Any discussion on anything that we just heard?
Only that it sounds promising and the timing seems to fit with our needs. It sounds as if it's definitely worth pursuing as an alternative to what we discussed last week. That I believe it's going to be beneficial.
Joe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've worked with the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank in my previous life as a banker, and I have found them to be excellent with what they do. It's clear to me that they work with us or for us versus, somebody who's perhaps a third party, doing the program. And I believe that the bond bank is the group that, if you do have an issue, they're the ones that are going to help you with it. So I'm pushing for the bond bank irregardless.
Oh, Lisa?
I'm wondering if our CFO might ask Tammy for a 2% rate, comparable that is equal to what we have from the other vendor, so that we can compare apples to apples.
If I can address that, yeah, I definitely want to make sure that you're able to compare apples with apples. The treasurer asked for last week a consolidated schedule that included both, so I've reminded them about that. Tammy's going to put the other one together. And ultimately, I think it's in our interest to keep them both proposals moving forward, because ultimately we're going to go with one that's going to cost us the least, I think, probably, all things being equal. I'm not certain. I mean, I want to point out that they have much higher fees. Like, they get paid for the work they do. They do great work, and they deserve to get paid. Like, all of them deserve to get paid. But I just want to make sure we don't overlook that just because it's rolled into the cost of the bond. So, in the end, I think it's likely that the group will want to support whichever one's going to save the county the most money. The great news is we're going to win no matter what, right? We're going to save considerable amounts of money either way. It's just which one's going to save us the most, which is a great place to be.
Any further discussion? Anybody? Okay. Seeing none, what's our next? Wow.
Madam Chair, if
Yes.
I may, how do we keep this ball rolling now in terms of an approval process and authorization process to start moving towards a public hearing and things like that?
So we'll wait for her things that she's saying, and we can discuss this again, and maybe make a decision if we want to keep going. I'm assuming that we do. And if we can have all that information for the delegation too on Thursday would be great, and get their input and their feelings.
Can't promise what I'll together for tomorrow, the delegation meeting, but
Right.
we'll see.
Well, we can pass on what we have,
Yep.
at least, so,
Madam Chair,
yes.
I think we need to be on track to finish an application by the April 30th
April 30th.
date. So we should be focusing our energy on that. On a separate track, from the other offering. We won't know the total costs. That $175,000 seems high. We won't know what that is until we know what other communities are going to be rolled into that, because it's shared. So until we get the agreement sometime in late June, we won't know we won't know the terms. I don't know if we would need to make a decision before that on the other track. Do you know?
Yes, we could basically get a quote, a bank rate quote, as we get closer to it, but before we need to make a decision. Tammy mentioned that one thing the banks can offer them is they can tell you what the rate is going to be today, and you have the opportunity to lock into that today, whereas they can't until they go to market. Now, are they going to be comparable? Probably. So we'll at least be able to have a sense of whether one's going to be a significant advantage over the other before we have to make a decision about we're going this route or we're going that route.
My question is, would we have to lock into the other route prior to late June?
Prior to late June, yes, we really would, because the issuance would be in the first week in July, and that's when we would get the cash in time to pay off our existing bonds on August 1st. So we'd probably go and get around June 1st. We might ask for that rate, and then have a couple weeks to make a decision.
Okay, follow up.
Yeah.
One of the benefits of this is we do not have to get a bond rating of our own. We may want to, under the other track. There may be a cost savings to getting a bond rating. It's a lot easier if we don't have to get that bond rating. And that's a time-consuming process, can be a costly process, and I don't think right now we're in a position to go do that based on what we have, because they'll do their own due diligence on where we are. And where we are right now is we don't have the reconciliation for 2020, and so we're really not in a position to begin that process of getting a bond rating. So,
But just to clarify, we don't need one to go with the private issue, but it would be helpful if we had one.
It
It'll
gives us a
come with
lower-
a cost.
we get a lower interest rate with a good bond rating.
Joe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To address Commissioner Flash's bond rating question, if I heard this correctly, the municipal bond banks uses their rating, not ours, which in turn gives us a better rate by using their rating. And so I would not understand why we would want to go to get a bond rating issue and through all that cost and time consuming and expense when we've got a proposal that's already showing us potentially a better rate without that bond rating problem. So I'm against, quite frankly, going down that bond rating route at the moment, because we don't have to. And that's why I again say I think the bond bank's a better place to go, because we can use their rating. Just another caveat to help the process. So, thank you.
Lisa?
Concerning the timeline, you mentioned that the bank needed a decision in July, but if I understand it correctly, the bond bank doesn't offer the offering until the end of July, and so we wouldn't know until like August 1st what the rate would be, dependent on the buyers of the bond at the bond bank. So does the bank, couldn't that be scheduled for August instead of July?
No, because we have only one opportunity to redeem our existing bonds, and that is on August 1st. So we got to have that cash in hand by at least mid-July. Otherwise, we have to wait another 6 months, incur all that extra interest, which would.
Okay.
So, no, we continue to have plenty of time to do what we're trying to do, as long as we keep the ball rolling forward. The application itself, I've looked at it. It's not terribly complicated, and it's not going to be terribly time-consuming. I've got no concerns about us being able to get our application together.
Madam Chair?
Just a minute. Representative Avellini, you have another question?
I do, Madam Chair, and thank you for your indulgence today. We're hearing a lot of dates being thrown around, a lot of this and that. Could we, for simplicity purposes, put together a timeline for both a bank possible bond and then the bond bank bond, the dates that required for applications, needed financial things, stuff like that, because I'm going to guess you're going to get a lot of the same questions at the delegation meeting.
Okay. Fergus is shaking his head yes, and he can do that for you.
Yeah, great suggestion. Will do.
Madam Chair?
Yes?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Chief O'Cullen, you indicated you've looked at the application for filing with either the bond bank or a private loan, is there, and you said it was fairly straightforward and you didn't have any issues with it, is there a portion of that that requires us to say we're in good financial health anywhere, to certify? Because what I'm afraid of is we're gonna run into the same issue. I'm not gonna certify that we're good to go without reconciliations. So if someone were to bring me an application that I needed to sign that said the county was in good financial standing, and I'm signing that, I better have 12 months of reconciliations to go with it.
If we do a private issue, the bank does its own due diligence and they make their decision regardless of what any of you say. So you're off the hook there. And with the bond bank, it's going to be the same. And while I have the floor, you know, Commissioner, you just mentioned that it might be 2 years late on the audit. That's not going to happen, and it's not a concern. 2020 audit is underway right now. It's not going to be done for April 30th, but nor are they expecting it to be done for April 30th.
May I, Fergus, maybe for the benefit of the other two commissioners and myself, could you give us a list or a monthly or weekly update when you hear from the new auditors on what they're requesting? Would that be possible for you to copy us on that, and then when they get that information back?
In fact, it's already been a part of my written report to you, exactly what has been going back and forth.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
May I?
Yes, you may.
Yes. I'm feeling that it might make sense to begin completing that application with the bond bank and begin getting all the materials together. I believe we probably have copies of the last 3 completed audits. I would say we're not behind yet on 2020. Let's get 19, 18, and 17 together, complete the application, and get it to the bond bank so we can start talking and get any feedback. There is a deadline of April 30th. It doesn't mean we have to wait. So maybe we should shoot for early March to get that done, and let us review it before it goes in. But any thoughts on that?
We'd be more than happy Fergus went ahead and started the ball rolling on the application. Because like I said, we don't have to go through with it, but we can at least get everything done. I mean, I don't expect you to have it done next week. Our Representative Avellini, you have another question?
I do. Thank you again, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. In the past, the delegation chair has always been included in correspondence with the auditors in relation to the timeline and this and that. I would also ask that that be continued for this term.
Okay. Fergus says yes, he'll make sure that you get the same reports that we do.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other discussions, questions? No. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. It is 1:45. When is our next planned?
Representative Avellini's hand is still up. Is he giving another question?
Lena, do you still have no, it's gone.
So Madam Chair, I tried to set it up so that you would have time for a lunch break because you have several non-public sessions following that, as well as if you want to sign checks during your recess period as well. I was looking at my notes from prior meetings, and the only straggler I still had was the policy for line item transfers.
Oh. Okay. Do we
I
have
don't know if you want to address that today or keep rolling it over.
Do we have that? I don't know if I have it with
Have
me.
a copy?
I probably do somewhere. The other two commissioners, what's your, we have plenty of time. What is our first time for the non-public, do you know? It was-
I was letting everyone know probably noon.
Noon, okay,
Lisa Scott is first, she has a 10-minute one.
okay.
Do the short ones first. And
So they start at noon, okay.
Can we move them up, Melissa?
We can move
I'd
them
like to
forward,
take
yeah.
lunch between 1 and 2 because I have to go over the court.
Oh, sure. Lisa said let her know anytime, so however you'd like to do it. I just need to end the tape when, or the Zoom. Unplug it.
Okay. So what's your choice? We got 15 minutes, then we can take an hour lunch break, or do you want to go forward with this week?
I'll defer to you on that. I don't have a copy in front of me,
Okay.
but
Do you want to?
I just remind you, Madam Chair, I have to be gone from 1 to
Yep.
2. So if we don't take the lunch break then, that means I wouldn't be able to participate in whatever non-public you guys.
Oh, that's right. Well, maybe we could do,
I have a request for one, so I could go whenever.
okay. So then maybe we can do a couple of the non-publics now, and then take our lunch, and then
And then come back.
come back and finish up.
that would be acceptable.
Okay.
Would you be able, we have one non-public that I intentionally save for the end of the day because it may take some time.
Right.
Out of respect for the person.
Yep.
Are you able to stay later? Could that happen at 2?
Yeah.
With that individual, and we could do all the other ones now?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that,
Yeah.
you can come right back over and,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. All right. I'll let everyone know.
Okay.
So the line item transfer policy,
Correct.
I thought we had already looked at it and we just made a few changes. It just outlines the form.
Right, I think we just added a couple of,
Yeah.
So are you looking for a motion, Madam Chair, or are we holding this?
no, we can,
So it's a very short policy, and then the second page of the policy has the RSAs listed.
it goes according to the RSA's, pretty much.
I remember there was something about
Yeah, up in here.
intra and inter.
Right.
Was, okay.
Yeah, I did correct that and put in there that the other department head that's affected also needs to sign off on the form if it's interdepartmental. My term's correct now?
So, yeah, so should we do the media and public input now? And so that people don't have to wait until, should? And then go into our non-publics?
That seems fair.
Yeah, this looks good. Could we attach the form to this policy?
Of course.
Yep. Okay,
I'm good with it. Should I make a motion?
yes.
Or did you want to make a motion?
It doesn't matter.
I'll make a motion to adopt that the policy as written.
I'd second a motion to adopt the funding transfer policy as written.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Is this the one you want us to sign?
Yes, please. And
Okay, so I guess I will go on to the next thing. Do we have any media questions? Seeing none, I don't see Damon on there anymore.
no, he left.
Do we have any public input?
Rep Avalani has his hand up.
Yes. Okay. Representative Avalani?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank the Commission for their indulgence today, having me participate in their meeting. I know it's important for transparency to have at least a member of the delegation to interact with the commissioners on a regular basis, to make sure we're moving forward in the right direction, and I'd like to thank the chair and the members of the commission for that.
Oh, thank you. You're always welcome, and we like to have your input, so.
I would second that.
Any further public input? Seeing none? We need a
Roll call
motion,
vote.
a motion to go into non-public.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we go into non-public.
Second,
All those in favor?
Under RSA 91A.
Under RSA 91A3 subsections,
C for
all C.
For all
C.
Subsection C for all of the non-public scheduled for this afternoon.
second,
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Tesari,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Aye.
Commissioner Platt,
aye.
And we will take a 5-minute break. I know. Ed, you're seeing it right.
9:50 or 10:50?
No, 9:50.
It's 10:50.